Hello, and welcome to League of Villains. I'm Tabiatsu Hero, and we are back to this shit of a game. Honestly, I was having more fun when shit was good. Now everything's going bad, and I'm getting scared. Because there's a lot of creepy shit in this game. Anyway. In the last episode, we got closer to Yuri, and now we're about to read a book that totally isn't the same as last time with her. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing, maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri is in the corner of my eye. I realize she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. Sorry, I was just bathing in the feeling of your body heat. Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you? I do? I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean... Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up to Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them. I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm is in the way, so instead I use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess that makes it kind of difficult to turn the page. Here. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. I do the same with my right arm, on the right side of the book. Look at my hand down there. That way, I turn a page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you ready? To turn the page. Sorry. I think I got a bit distracted for a second. I glance over to Yuri's face and our eyes meet again. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. Shut up, car horn. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me. Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page before me, so I turn it by my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her. She catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri? This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit. No, I don't relate to this character at all. Definitely not. Really? I was just thinking... Wow, that's a different face. I was just thinking the way she second-guesses things she says and all. That's what you were talking about. Sorry. I thought you meant something else about her. Something else? Never mind. We didn't even get that far yet, so I don't know why that came into my head. Yuri, are you feeling alright? Yuri's been a little fidgety ever since we started reading. You can rest if you're feeling sick or something. Your breathing is a little... My breathing? Yuri puts her hand on her chest as if to feel her heartbeat. I didn't even notice. Anyway, I'm fine. I just need some water. Alright, don't push yourself. Yuri stands up and practically rushes out of the classroom. What on earth was that about? Mad? Did something happen just now? I have no idea. Yuri is acting a little strange, I guess. So you don't know anything? Sorry, I can't say I do. Are you worried about her? No, not really. I was just making sure that you didn't do anything to her. No, nothing. Don't worry. I believe you, silly. Yuri just does this sometimes, and it's nothing alarming. Alright, if you say so. Anyway, why don't we start with sharing our poems with each other? Shouldn't we wait for Yuri? Well, she might be a while, so I just figured we'd get started without her. Is that okay? Yeah, I was just asking. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book and then slip it back into my bag. Okay, Natsuki. Told Natsuki I was interested in her poems yesterday. It's probably only fair if I shared mine with her first. Man, if you're not going to take this club seriously, then go home. Well, what? Harsh. What do you expect?
expect me to believe when that you actually put effort into this? Do you think I'm stupid?
I'm not a writer. Maybe it's not very good, but yeah, I did put in effort. We all start somewhere, right? If you're still proud of the first poem you ever wrote, then I'd like to read it. Painful to think about.
Fine. Well, sorry. You'll get better anyway. I tell you what to improve, but you're better off just trying again.
Fair enough. Well, to each their own, I guess. Anyway, I guess I gotta share mine now. Why is there so many goddamn noises in this apartment complex?
Knowing you, you'll probably think it's stupid.
Oh, it's the same as before.
Yeah, I told you that you weren't gonna like it.
I like it. What?
Just be honest.
I am. Why are you so convinced that I wouldn't like it?
Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff, so people don't even take my writing seriously.
But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid.
Yes, exactly. I like it when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem, seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening, so I decided to write about it.
Yeah, I understand.
But the other nice thing about simple writing is that it puts more weight on the wordplay. Like I set up for a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out feeling in the last line.
So you did. I guess more went into it than I realized.
That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you?
Yeah, guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki is feeling proud then I won't take that away from her. Okay, Monica.
Hi, Mad. Having a good time so far?
Yeah. Good, glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we could do better, I'm always listening.
Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay?
Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to.
Don't worry, Mad. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know. But it's just that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon.
Yeah, that's true. And Monica, my poem.
Great job, Mad. I was going ooh in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you.
It's easy for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That's why it always counts when I put in some effort.
That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism? Sometimes I feel like Yuri's mind is just totally detached from reality.
I thought that said everything, and then I was like, oh shit, that's reality. Body, you're gonna burp.
I don't mean that like it's a bad thing, though, but sometimes I get the impression that she's just totally given up on people. She spends so much time in her own head, and that's probably a much more interesting place for her.
Wow, that sounds like me.
But that's why she gets so happy when you treat her with a lot of kindness. I don't think she's used to being indulged like that. She must be really starved for social interaction, so don't blame her for coming on a little strongly, like earlier. I think if she gets too stimulated, she ends up withdrawing and looking for alone time.
Suddenly the door opens.
Yuri! I'm back. Did I miss anything? Not really. Well, we all started sharing our poems with each other. Already? I'm so sorry for being late.
No need to apologize. We still have plenty of time, so I'm more glad that you took all the time you needed.
All right. Thanks, Monica. I suppose I should go get my poem now. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now?
Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims not to be very good.
Well, that's because I have to sound confident. Doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know?
I see.
Well, let's read it then.
Hole in the wall. I think this is the same. Yeah.
So what do you think?
It's very free form, if that's what you want to call it. Sorry, I'm not really good. I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback.
That's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful.
What was the inspiration behind this one?
Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit.
An epiphany?
Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other? Anyway, here is Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to go get something down on the paper and tidy up later. Another way to think about this is, if you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big, dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening.
As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten.
Exceptional.
What was that?
Did I just say that out loud?
Yuri first covers her mouth and then ends up covering her whole face.
He's going to hate me.
You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri.
I guess you're right.
Excuse me.
What am I getting so nervous for?
Yuri takes a breath.
So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before.
Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really.
Huh?
Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again.
Well, I know that. I just meant,
Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her finger along the words in the poem, as if breaking it down more thoroughly.
Yeah, okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers, and having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened.
Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert.
Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simpler poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it also comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased, though.
Biased? How?
Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry.
It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri's apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now?
Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it.
Yuri smiles dreamily as if it's a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club?
I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all, but it took you a long time to read.
Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty.
That's a relief.
Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive.
It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems.
Not at all.
I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose.
Are you into ghosts, Yuri?
Oh, actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Mad.
Really? I must have totally missed the point.
Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experience in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn putting it that way.
Oh, that's a lot more solemn putting it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive.
Eh? It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive too, so...
Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you.
You think so?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Mad.
Me too. Phew. I guess that's everyone. I glanced around the room. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone is judging me for my mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. Did the music just change? Okay. This is a literature club after all. I sigh. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Monica is writing something in her notebook. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly.
What's with this language?
Did you say something?
Oh, it's nothing.
Natsuki dismissively returns the poem to the desk with one hand.
I guess you could say it's fancy.
Ah, thanks. Yours is cute.
Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? It's clearly about the feeling of giving up. How can that be cute?
I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. I was trying to say something nice.
You mean you have to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but it really didn't come out nice at all.
Well, I do have a couple suggestions.
If I was looking for suggestions, I would have asked someone who would actually like it. Which people did, by the way. Monica liked it, and Matt did too. So based on that, I'll gladly give you some suggestions of my own. First of all...
Excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I've spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect it to change anytime soon. Unless, of course, I come across something particularly inspiring. Which I haven't yet. And Mad liked my poem too, you know. He even told me he was impressed by it. Natsuki suddenly stands up.
Oh! I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri.
That's not what I... You're just... Yuri stands up as well. Maybe you're just jealous that Matt appreciates my advice more than he appreciated yours.
Huh? And how do you know he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself?
No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out of my way to make everything I do overly cutesy.
Well, you know what? I wasn't the one whose boobs magically grew a size bigger as soon as Matt showed up.
Natsuki! Natsuki, that's a little... This doesn't involve you! Taking out your own insecurities on others like that, you really act as young as you look, Natsuki.
Me? Look who's talking, you wanna be edgy bitch.
Edgy? Sorry that my lifestyle is too much for someone of your mental age to comprehend.
See? Just saying that proves my point. Most people learn to get over themselves after they graduate middle school, you know.
If you want to prove anything, then stop harassing others with your sickening attitude. You think you can counterbalance your toxic personality just by dressing and acting cute? The only cute thing about you is how hard you try.
Whoa, be careful. You might cut your...
Oh, Jesus, I'm already fucking up.
Whoa, be careful or you might cut yourself on that edge, Yuri. Oh, my bad. You already do, don't you?
Did you just accuse me of cutting myself? What the fuck is wrong with your head?
Yeah, go on. Let Matt hear everything you really think. I'm sure he'll be head over heels for you after this.
Suddenly Yuri turns towards me as if she just noticed I was standing here. Dad, she's just trying to make me look bad.
That's not true. She started it.
Oh shit, I'll pause the video and read that. Yuri, Natsuki, Yuri, Natsuki, Yuri, Monica! Hey, Mad. Why don't we step outside for a little bit, okay? Sorry about that. They really shouldn't have tried to get you involved. It's probably better for us to stay out of this. We'll go back inside once they're done yelling. Some president I am, right? I can't even confront my own club members properly. I just wish I was able to be a little more assertive sometimes. But I never have it in me to put my foot down against others. You understand, right? Anyway, if this makes you want to spend less time with others, then that's fine. I'd be happy to spend more time with you instead. Suddenly Natsuki runs out of the classroom. She quickly runs away. Oh dear. Well, it looks like they're done. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Yuri is rocking back and forth on her desk with her palms on her forehead. Yuri? I didn't mean it! I believe you. I have no idea what Yuri might have said to Natsuki, or did. Mad? Please don't hate me. Please! I'm not like this. There's something wrong with me today. It's fine, Yuri. We know you didn't mean it. Besides, I'm sure Natsuki will forget about it by tomorrow. Completely. Anyway, the meeting is over, so you can go home now if you want. Yuri looks at me like she wants to say something, but she keeps glancing at Monica. You can go first, Monica.
I'd like to stay a little bit longer. I'm the president, so I should be the last one out. I'll wait for you to be done. Well, I'm vice president, so please let me take that responsibility today. It kind of sounds like you don't want me around for something, Yuri. It's not that. It's not that. I didn't get much of a chance to discuss my book with Mad. It would just be embarrassing with you listening. I guess I don't really have a choice, do I? I'm sorry for causing trouble, but I really appreciate your understand.
Okay. Graveyard, universe, unrequited, explode. Memories, oh shit. Unstable, existence, tragedy, dark, sadness. What? Okay. Tenacious, misfortune, philosophy, kawaii, death, infinite, disoriented, frightening, heaven sent, fear. Another day passes and it's time for the club meeting already. Actually, I think that's a good place to end the video. So I will see you guys later. Join the League of Villains.